Habemus Papam.
White smoke billowed from the Sistine Chapel on May 8, 2025, and the world held its breath. Cardinal Robert Prevost, the Chicago-born missionary, stepped onto the Vatican balcony as Pope Leo XIV, the first American pope in 2,000 years. If that doesn't give you chills, I don't know what will. Smash that like button if you're amazed, and comment below, did you see this coming? This is history in the making, and we're unpacking what it means for the Church, the controversies, candidates that followed him, and the bold vision he's bringing to 1.3 billion Catholics. Let's dive in, because there's a storm brewing in Rome that you need to know about. Let's kick things off with who Robert Prevost is. Born in 1955 in Chicago, this guy wasn't your average kid shooting hoops in the Windy City. Picture a young Robert, surrounded by the hum of urban life, yet drawn to something bigger. At 22, he joined the Augustinian order, a group rooted in St. Augustine's teachings of community and service. Why? That's the question. Was it a divine call, or something else pulling him toward a life of sacrifice? Prevost's early years were all about grit and grace. He earned a math degree from Villanova, showing he's got brains to match his faith. Then, he dove into theology at Catholic Theological Union in Chicago, followed by canon law studies in Rome. This wasn't just book smarts, Prevost was forging a path to serve the Church on a global stage. By 1982, at just 27, he was ordained a priest. But here's the kicker, instead of staying comfy in the US, he packed his bags for Peru. Why would a young priest leave everything for a mission in a far-off land? Hold that thought, because his time in Peru sets the stage for something massive. Let's talk stakes. Prevost's move to Peru wasn't a vacation. In the 1980s, Peru was a hotbed of poverty, political unrest, and Catholic missionary work. He landed in Chulucanas, a dusty region where faith was a lifeline for struggling communities. As chancellor and later a seminary leader in Trujillo, Prevost didn't just preach, he built schools, trained priests, and lived among the people. Imagine this, a young American priest, knee-deep in Peru's challenges, shaping the future of the Church in Latin America. For Catholics, this is huge. Latin America's 600 million faithful are the Church's heartbeat. But what drove him to this life? Was it pure devotion, or was there a bigger plan? Fast forward to the 2000s, and Prevost's star is rising. After nearly 2 decades in Peru, he's called back to lead the Augustinian Chicago province. Then, in 2014, Pope Francis taps him as Bishop of Chiclayo, Peru. This is a big deal. Chiclayo's diocese serves thousands of Catholics, and Prevost is now a shepherd guiding them through faith and hardship. His leadership style? Hands-on, pastoral, focused on unity. He's not just a suit in a cathedral, he's out there, connecting with people, living the gospel. Here's where it gets juicy. In 2023, Pope Francis pulls Prevost to Rome as prefect of the dicastery for bishops. This job is like the Church's HR director. Prevost helps pick bishops worldwide, shaping the future of Catholicism. For a Catholic audience, this is electrifying. The dicastery influences everything from local parishes to global church policies. But for a general viewer, think of it like this: Prevost is now one of the most powerful players in a 2,000-year-old institution. But wait, why Prevost? Why did Pope Francis, known for shaking things up, choose this American missionary for such a massive role? Some say it's his track record of bridging divides, from Peru's rural parishes to Vatican politics. Others whisper it's his loyalty to Francis' vision of a more inclusive church. Either way, Prevost's beliefs are now under a microscope. He's a strong supporter of synodality. Think church-wide collaboration, like a global town hall for Catholics. He's also backed Francis' push to let divorced and remarried Catholics receive communion, a move that's got traditionalists clutching their rosaries. But there's a shadow looming over his rise, and it's about to hit hard. Let's zoom in on Prevost's beliefs, because they're the heart of his story. As an Augustinian, he's all about community, prayer, and living the gospel in the real world. His time in Peru shaped a faith that's practical, not just preachy. He said, "Our first duty is to communicate the beauty and joy of knowing Jesus." That's not just talk, Prevost's lived it, from building schools to mentoring young priests. For Catholics, this resonates with the Church's call to serve the poor, like Brazil's 130 million faithful who lean on faith in tough times. But his beliefs aren't without tension. Prevost's support for Fiducia Supplicans, the 2023 Vatican document allowing blessings for same-sex couples, has sparked heated debate. He's taken a middle road, saying local bishops should interpret it based on their culture. Smart move or cop-out? You tell me in the comments. Then there's his stance on women's roles in the Church. At the 2023 Synod, he said ordaining women as clergy could create more problems than it solves. For some, that's a bold defense of tradition, for others, it's a missed opportunity. What's clear is Prevost walks a tightrope, balancing progressive reforms with Catholic doctrine. Here's the cliffhanger: Prevost's beliefs have made him a Vatican heavyweight, but they've also put a target on his back. As prefect, he's shaping the Church's future, but whispers of scandal are growing louder. What did he know about abuse allegations in Chiclayo, and why are critics calling his response a betrayal? If you're shocked already, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, because the next part will blow your mind. But there's one more thing you need to know about his rise, and it's a game changer. Prevost's role in Rome isn't just a job, it's a global spotlight. He's helping pick bishops for dioceses from Africa to Asia, influencing how 1.3 billion Catholics experience their faith. Imagine the pressure, every decision ripples across continents. His push for synodality means listening to everyone, from lay people to cardinals, to shape a Church that's united yet diverse. For a general audience, this is like running a global company with ancient roots. For Catholics, it's a mission to keep the faith alive in a divided world. But here's the twist you didn't see coming. In 2024, Prevost was named a cardinal, cementing his place as a papal contender. That's right, this Chicago-born missionary could be in line to be the next pope. Mind blown? Smash that like button if you're as stunned as I am. But with great power comes great scrutiny. Allegations from Chiclayo are resurfacing, threatening to derail his legacy. Did Prevost mishandle abuse cases, or is he being unfairly targeted? The answer could change everything. But first, let's talk about his chosen name. Why Leo XIV? The name's a clue. Pope Leo XIII, back in the 19th century, was a master of balancing tradition with modern challenges, writing on everything from workers' rights to Catholic doctrine. By choosing this name, Prevost is signaling he's ready to bridge divides in a fractured Church. But here's the question: can a man who's spent decades in Peru's parishes and Vatican halls unite a global faith under fire? The stakes are sky high, and the controversies trailing him are about to take center stage. Let's get real, Prevost's rise to the papacy wasn't all incense and hymns. His time as Bishop of Chiclayo, Peru, is where the shadows creep in. In May 2025, allegations hit hard. 3 women claimed the diocese paid $150,000 to silence their accusations of sexual abuse by a priest. They pointed fingers at Prevost, saying he covered it up. The story exploded on Peruvian TV, with the women calling him out as a protector of predators. For Catholics, this is a gut punch. Abuse scandals have rocked the Church for decades, from Brazil's megacities to small-town parishes. So, what's the truth? Prevost's defenders, including the Chiclayo diocese, insist he followed canon law to the letter, investigating claims and reporting to Rome. They say the payments were humanitarian aid, not hush money, and that critics are twisting the narrative to smear a reform-minded cardinal. But victims' advocates aren't buying it. They argue Prevost's response lacked transparency, leaving survivors in the dust. Comment below, what do you think, did Prevost do enough, or is this a red flag for his papacy? The heat's on, and it's not just Peru stirring the pot. Then there's the Chicago controversy. In 2000, as provincial of the Augustinians, Prevost allowed Father James Ray, a priest suspended for credible abuse allegations, to live at St. John's Stone Friary, right near a Catholic school. Prevost didn't notify the school, a move critics call reckless. His supporters argue he followed protocol, as Ray was barred from public ministry, but for many, it's a stain that screams negligence. Now, as Pope Leo XIV, every decision he makes will be scrutinized. Can he rebuild trust, or will these ghosts haunt his reign? Hold that thought, because there's a bigger battle looming. Despite the controversies, Prevost's vision as Pope Leo XIV is electrifying Catholics worldwide. He's doubled down on synodality, think a church where lay people, priests, and bishops collaborate like never before. In his first Urbi et Orbi blessing, he said, "The church is a family, not a fortress." That's a shot across the bow for traditionalists who want a top-down faith. For a general audience, it's like a CEO promising to listen to every employee, from janitors to VPs. For Catholics, it's a call to rethink how faith works. But here's the cliffhanger, not everyone's cheering. Prevost's push for inclusivity, blessings for same-sex couples, communion for the divorced, has conservatives fuming. At the 2023 Synod, he backed fiducia supplicans, saying local bishops should adapt it to their cultures. Now, as Pope, he's got to navigate a church split between progressives hungry for change and traditionalists digging in their heels. Will he lean into Francis' legacy, or carve his own path? Smash that subscribe button and ring the bell, because what he does next could redefine Catholicism. Prevost's also got a heart for the margins. His decades in Peru taught him to prioritize the poor, migrants, and the forgotten. As Pope, he's already hinted at a new encyclical on climate and poverty, echoing Francis Laudato Si. Imagine this, a pontiff who calls out global leaders on inequality while preaching from a 2,000-year-old pulpit. For a general viewer, that's a leader tackling today's crises with ancient wisdom. For Catholics, it's the gospel in action. But there's a twist coming that could shake his plans to their core. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, an American pope. The US is a superpower, and for centuries, cardinals avoided picking a pontiff from a global heavyweight. Why? Nobody wanted the Vatican looking like Washington's puppet. Prevost's Peruvian citizenship and missionary roots helped dodge that stigma, but skeptics still whisper, can an American truly lead a universal church? Here's the flip side. Prevost's American upbringing brings a practical, can-do vibe to the Vatican. He's already streamlined the dicastery for bishops and brought 3 women to its voting bloc, a reform insiders call revolutionary. That's huge for a church wrestling with bureaucracy. But his global experience, Peru, Rome, and beyond, makes him a bridge builder. He's fluent in Spanish, Italian, and English, connecting with Catholics from Manila to Mexico City. At 69, he's young enough for a long reign but seasoned enough to dodge rookie mistakes. Or so we hope. But here's the game changer you didn't see coming. Just weeks into his papacy, Prevost announced a global summit on abuse reform, vowing zero tolerance and universal policies inspired by US standards. This is massive, potentially the boldest move since John Paul II faced the 2002 Boston scandal. Victims' advocates are cautiously hopeful, but critics warn it's a PR stunt unless he delivers. If he pulls it off, it could heal wounds from Chiclayo to Dublin. If he fails, it might sink his credibility. The clock's ticking, and the world's watching. So, where does Pope Leo XIV go from here? His first 100 days will be a tightrope walk, balancing reform with tradition, unity with accountability. He's hinted at visiting Latin America, home to 600 million Catholics, to kickstart his missionary papacy. Picture this, a pope preaching in Peru's plazas, reconnecting with the people who shaped him. For Catholics, it's a homecoming. For everyone else, it's a signal the Church is going global in a big way. But the controversies won't vanish. Every tweet, every sermon, every decision will be dissected. Can he rise above the scandals, unite a divided Church, and lead with the humility he preached? That's the question. Share this video with a friend who needs to hear this story, and let's get it trending. Comment: what's your boldest hope for Leo XIV's papacy? Smash that like button if you're inspired, and subscribe with that bell for more epic Catholic stories.